And welcome back, my homies, to the No Business Soccer Podcast. We're continuing our Euro 2024 series, and today we're going through Group C. That includes England, Denmark, Serbia, and Slovenia. We're going to be going over some of their history in the recent tournaments, form, and see how they've been performing as of late, some key players, their best young talents to watch out for, the odds and where they're going to finish, and then also a little bit about why I'm watching them, why you guys should be watching them, and then, of course, we're checking in on some fun facts and why Victor's watching them. So with that said, let's jump right into it. We have England up first. England got into the Euros by topping their group that included Italy and Ukraine with 20 points. In that tournament, in the qualifying tournament, they had 22 goals for and only 4 goals against in 8 matches. So they were dominating out there. And the last time they were in the Euros, they topped their group, including Croatia and Scotland and Czech Republic, with 7 points. When they went on to beat Germany in the round of 16, they beat Ukraine in the quarterfinals, and then they beat Denmark in the semis. But their best performance was last Euros, and they actually got to the finals and finished runners-up to Italy at Wembley. So kind of sucks for them. It's still a lot of those Brits are wanting to bring it home, but we'll see how they do. And judging by their form, it looks like they've been pretty good lately. But Vic, why don't we go through that?
Yeah, well, England had a really good 2023. And matter of fact, in their summer of 2023, they beat Malta 4-0 and then North Macedonia 7-0. So combined 11-0 there, absolutely dominating the summer. They did start off the fall with a 1-1 draw against Ukraine, but then rattled off 4 straight wins against Scotland, Australia, Italy, and Malta. And then ended the year with another draw against North Macedonia as well, even though they thrashed them last time. 2024 hasn't been as friendly to them. They had a 1-0 loss against Brazil and then a 2-2 draw against Belgium in March. And then just recently, they did beat Bosnia and Herzegovina 3-0, but just lost to Iceland on June 7th, 1-0. So trying to get in a more positive role going into these Euros. Hopefully they can get there. These are all friendly, so they might have been testing some stuff out as well. But we'll see coming up.
Yeah, I saw that Southgate made some strange choices with that Euro team. So I imagine that he used this Iceland friendly to kind of try things out, maybe threw some stuff out there. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but 1-0 loss to Iceland going into this, who Iceland's not even in this tournament. Pretty concerning, but overall, they are a heavy favorite. But before we get to that, let's talk about some of the key players here. I could have picked anybody on this team, really, but we know who the best striker in the world is, guys, right? Vic, we all know who the best striker in the world is.
He
That's
is
Harry
known
Kane.
as one of the strikers. Yeah, he is one of them. For
he
sure.
is the best in the world. His name is Harry Kane, the Spurs boy, legend, now for Bayern Munich. And again, if he's not the best in the world, he's definitely one of them. Last season, 36 goals and 8 assists for Bayern Munich, his first year there in the Bundesliga. We also have Phil Foden on that team. He's a right wing for City, and you've probably seen him a lot. There's just something about his face that makes me not like him, but I can't deny that he is a world-class winger, and he's a huge part of that City team, and he'll be a huge part of the England team going forward. We also have Declan Rice. Great first season with Arsenal, unfortunately. He's an elite holding midfielder that should be able to help control and stabilize that midfield for Kane, Foden, and Saka going forward. He's going to be a big part of that team if they're going to be defensively shaped up on that back end of the England squad. And you're probably wondering, how did you not say Jude Bellingham, Adam? Like, what's going on with that? Well, he's obviously 20 years old, so he's going to be the young talent, okay? He's a midfielder for Real Madrid. Last season, for Madrid, his first season with them, 23 goals, 13 assists. Dude is a perfect midfielder. Tracks back, wins the ball back, and he's ridiculous in scoring and creating goals. That's why he plays for Madrid at 20 years old, and that's why he's going to be one of the top talents at this tournament. Now, with that said, we know that this team is stacked top to bottom, but Vic, what are the odds telling us here? What are the degenerates telling us here?
Well, the sports books are saying if you got money to put it on them, because the overall odds to finish just the top of their group is the -250, best odds of the tournament, and also the odds to win overall are the absolute best at +300. So they're the favorites going in according to the sports book. So if you got money, it's a pretty safe bet there.
Yeah, in the word on the street, it's really hard to judge because they're coming into the tournament as a favorite, and rightly so, looking at their recent form other than that Iceland game. They have ridiculous depth in that squad, pretty straightforward path to getting to the round of 16. And it's just that everyone seems a little squeamish on the idea that they would finally get it done, that they'd finally bring it home. They finally win that trophy. And so most people have them penciled in the finals. Obviously, the money does as well. But there's like a pessimism that can they actually do it? I think until they actually get it done and win that trophy, no one's going to really believe that it's going to happen, especially when you have some strong sides in this tournament other than them. And that's why I'll be watching. I'm going to be watching England because I want to see them lift the trophy, or at least see if they can. And another
Be
reason
honest.
that I'll be
Be honest.
watching
Be
is
honest
because
here.
Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, be honest here. You know why you're watching.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, everybody knows. Huge Harry Kane fan here, and I'll be watching it because Harry Kane, he gets this curse on him that people put on there. It's fake. It's not real. He can't win a trophy. So if he wins a trophy, I'm shoving it in everybody's face. This guy, he deserves a trophy. I mean, it is kind of funny the fact that he goes to Bayern and doesn't win shit, even though they win everything every year. So man, that sucks. But anyway, he's going to win a trophy this year. That's it. I made up my mind. They're going to win it. But yeah, that's a huge reason. Harry Kane getting his trophy, getting it at this stage too, will be awesome. And some reasons why y'all should be watching it. I imagine that here in the States, outside of Mbappe, the most coverage is going to gravitate towards this English squad because, well, first off, the Premier League is the most popular league here outside of, well, I don't want to say outside of the MLS, but probably overall just the most popular league here in the US. And they speak the same language, so a lot of the coverage does gravitate that direction. So it wouldn't be hard to watch this team if you want to. But outside of that, because they haven't won an international tournament since the 1966 World Cup, if you're going over there soon, I don't know if you've been yet, but they like to drink a lot, and I imagine that they'll still be drinking, singing "It's Coming Home," and there's a really good chance that it does come home this time around. Fingers crossed. Vic, why are you watching this England squad?
Well, you probably heard of the term "go fast and break things," and England's all about speed, and they're used to taking tumbles because they have the annual cheese rolling competition. I don't know if you've ever seen this,
I've
but
seen that.
they roll cheese down a hill. That's basically it, and the first one down the hill wins. About half of the people actually stay on their feet. They're people just falling and rolling. And if you watch YouTube, I Show Speed just did that and got fourth. That's really impressive. So they're all about speed and used to taking tumbles. Also, they know how to relax. They're never more than 115 kilometers or 71 miles for us Americans from a beach at all times. So they know how to relax. They're going to be nice and cool going into this tournament. And it's also just awesome that the drinking age is 18 to buy it. But if you're at a private function or if you're at your house, you just have to be 5 years old. So they know how to celebrate as well. And there's going to be a lot of people over the age of 5 drinking, watching these games, and celebrating. So good luck to England. We'll be watching.
That is awesome. I did
Yeah,
not know that
it's
their
crazy.
drinking age was so young. It seems like there should be some more rules in place, but who am I to tell them? Okay, well, moving right along to Denmark. Denmark got into the Euro 2024 by finishing top of their group with 22 points and a record of 7 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. Level on points with Slovenia, but won due to the head-to-head record. And the last time they were here, they finished second in their group behind Belgium with 3 points, which tied with Finland, but they advanced on goal differential. And they went on to beat Wales in the round of 16, Czech Republic in the quarterfinals, and eventually lost to England in the semifinals. And they've actually been surprisingly very successful in the Euros. In their 9 appearances all time, they have one quarter final appearance. They've been to the semis 3 times, and they actually won it back in 1992, which you don't really think of Denmark as a powerhouse in Europe in football, but they have been in the Euros at least. And so, with that said, Vic, tell us how they've been playing lately.
Yeah, they've actually looked real good. As of 2023, they only had one loss just to close out the year, but they started out in June, summer of last year, with a 1-0 win and a 1-1 draw against Northern Ireland and Slovenia, respectively. They did rattle off 5 straight wins against San Marino, Finland, Kazakhstan, San Marino again, and then Slovenia. But again, did close out with one loss against Northern Ireland 2-0. This year has been good for them. They did start off with a 0-0 draw against Switzerland, but then have 3 straight friendly wins against the Faroe Islands, Sweden, and Norway. Just winning, actually just beating Norway yesterday 3-1. So they're looking pretty good and been in good shape this whole calendar year, and hopefully you're going to continue that into the Euros.
Yeah, they've been really good, and looking at their history, they continue to be good. So, man, maybe dark horse. I don't know. I'm gonna use that for
I
so
don't know.
many teams,
Yeah.
but they're good. Kind of hard to be a dark horse when you've won it and done so well at it. So anyway, some key players for the Denmark squad. We have Joachim Andersen, the Crystal Palace center back. He's going to be the anchor for that Danish defense. We also have Christian Eriksen, who he's the center midfield for Manchester United these days, but did play for Spurs, as we know. And definitely love him still. Hope he comes back one day. But he'll be pulling the strings from that midfield position and making things happen there. And then a young talent to watch out for on this Denmark team is Rasmus Højlund, 21-year-old center forward for Man U. Last season, he had 16 goals and 2 assists across all competitions for Man U. And Rasmus was injured a ton this past season for them, but when he was fit and on the pitch, the dude was scoring goals. There's no denying that he has that lethal instinct in front of goal. And he should be getting the bulk of the work in that forward position for Denmark. So this really could be his chance to break out and be in good form going into next season for Manchester United. And let's take a look at some of the sports books, Vic.
Yeah, so the sports books have them finishing only behind England for their group at a plus 400. I mean, England's a favorite to win the whole thing, so it's kind of hard to, kind of tough for them on that part. But they also do have a plus 4,000 joint ninth place finish, or not finish, but odds to win with Croatia to win the whole Euros 2024. So, as you were saying, could be a dark horse. That might be a good bet for some of you guys. They do really well in competitions and in national competitions like that. So, we will definitely see.
Yep. And word on the street for them is that they're definitely good enough to and have enough quality to finish second in that group behind England. And I say finish second because I don't think many people have them beating England, which makes sense just judging by how good England is right now. But nobody really sees them getting past the round of 16. From what I'm reading, they have the quality to get there, but not through. So we'll have to find out. And again, they're going to be coming in as a second seed if they get there. More than likely, I don't want to say I know, but more than likely, just judging by the rest of this group. And so they will have a bit of a easier matchup than if they were to go in that third spot. So some of those games could be key to how they go forward in that tournament. And why I'm going to be watching this, well, I think it's the same reason that most of the world will be watching Denmark, and it's the redemption story of Christian Eriksen. You may or may not remember, but in the 2020 Euro match against Finland, Eriksen collapsed on the pitch, suffering from a cardiac arrest, and his heart stopped on the pitch, and they had to revive him. The team doctors had to revive him while all the world was watching. And I remember it vividly, such a surreal moment. We were opening up, I think we were just going to like a walkthrough of Q2 Stadium here in Austin whenever they were getting Austin FC ready. And I remember walking to the stadium and getting that alert and being like, what's going on? And getting on Twitter and trying to find out. Scary, scary moments. Obviously, he was with Spurs at the time, or it was right when he was leaving. I can't remember exactly. But I've always loved Eriksen, and I have heart stuff going on too. So I feel a kinship with him. And so I'll be watching, and I know that you'll all be watching too. With that said, Vic, why are you watching? Because I know you don't care about the heart stuff.
I did care. It was a bad thing, but I'm gonna be watching because I know Denmark are no strangers to conflict. They actually have a record for most wars fought between them and Sweden in the world, the highest 2 countries in the world. So nobody really knows the amount, but they do have 28 peace settlements between them. So it's either more than 28. Other people were saying 18, but nobody really knows the amount. It's been that many. So not only that, if you like breakfast, you got to be huge fans of pork bacon. They are one of the biggest exporters of pigs. There are 28 million pigs, or almost 5 pigs per person in Denmark. So I appreciate that, and they will be getting my eyeballs on their games for that.
What?
Obviously, the eyeballs. And also, Denmark is part of your childhood, as they invented Legos. And I still have a Lego set just right over there that I need to put together. It's a Fender guitar and amplifier. So if you had Legos as a child, you have Denmark to thank for that, and you should support them in these Euros. I know I will. So let's see how they do.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that. And not a big bacon guy myself. Do love me some pork, just not so much the bacon. It might be controversial, but
Yes, we
okay.
all knew something was
Well,
wrong with you.
a lot of things wrong with me. But that's a story for another day. Right now, we're moving right along to Serbia. Serbia got to the Euro 2024 by finishing second in their group behind Hungary with 14 points and a record of 4 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses. Last time they were here, this is Serbia's first Euro qualifier since becoming an independent nation. So, however they do, that this is how they'll be. This will be their best finish, I should say. So that's really cool. It's always fun to see a debutant, if you will. And so, with that said, Vic, what is their form telling us going into Euro 2024?
It is all over the place. 2023, they had a win, a draw, a loss, a win, a loss, a win, a loss, and a draw. So they didn't even get two of the same results in a row. They've been all over the place, but this year it's much of the same. In 2024, they've had four international friendlies. They lost against Russia 4-0, beat Cyprus, lost against Austria, and then beat Sweden 3-0. So all over the place right now. Hopefully, they can get it all worked out and get everything in line and have a really strong Euro presence here.
Yeah, looking at their form table, it looks a little bit like Christmas, and that's never a good thing.
Yeah.
Red, green, win, loss, win, loss. But they do have a pretty strong side. So let's take a look at some of these key players for this Serbian squad. The main one that most people will know is Alexander Mitrovic. He's a 6'2" striker, now in the Saudi league, but he played in the Prem for Fulham for a while, and he's really going to be that tone setter and has a knack for scoring goals. And when I say tone setter, dude's nasty. He's just mean. And usually I don't like those type of strikers, but this guy, there's something about him. He's very likable. They also have Dusan Vlahovic. He's the center forward for Juve. Scored 18 goals for them last season, and he'll be looking to link up with Mitrovic a ton this tournament. And then we also have Dusan Tadic, who's one of the more well-known Serbian players as well, but he's 35. He plays for Fenerbahce on that wing, and definitely the twilight years of his career, but he's still the captain for that side, and they're still going to look to build from the back in the attack from him. And going on to the young talents you should be looking for, we have Laser Samardzic. He's 22 22 years old, central midfielder from Udinese. Scored 6 goals and 2 assists for them across all competitions last season. He started 28 games for them in Serie A, and from what I've read and seen on some of the highlights he has, he's really talented when he's on the ball, but he does tend to disappear, and that's what I've read about from some of the Udinese fans, is that they say that he's really good, but then there's multiple games in a row that he just seems to disappear. But this guy, he's a transfer target for some bigger clubs and elite clubs at that, so he's obviously doing something right, and hopefully he can have a good showing at this tournament and make that move. Now let's take a look at some of the betting odds. Go ahead, Vic.
Yeah, so the betting odds have them third to finish top of their group behind Denmark and England at a plus 800. Not as good, obviously, to win the overall Euros. It is actually a plus 8,000. So this is the 13th best, tied with Austria and Hungary, right in the middle there. So uh, not too good of odds, but they are in a pretty tough group, and we'll see how they do. But that's what's going on the money line in the sports books. What are they saying out on the street about this team, Adam?
Yeah, word on the street is that Serbian hopes they were at all time high going into that World Cup 2022, and based on how high flying they were, they killed it in the qualifying. But since then, it's really been a rough go, and their recent results obviously show that. We just talked about the table, and so not doing too well in the qualifiers. There's really not a lot of optimism that they can do much, especially with such a strong uh, group, well, at least has 2 teams in it that are really strong in Denmark and England. Most people are basically assuming that they're going to finish third in the group above Slovenia, but probably not making to the round of 16 because they'd have to be one of the best teams in the third place group. But I don't really see that happening, and not a lot of other people do as well. So, yeah, that's the word on the street. While I'll be watching them, really, there's not a ton going on there. But I will say, I probably should have said Chivapi for this group. I think I said it for Croatia. like I said, the haters are going to tell me that it's from here, which is fine. So how about some more food? Have you ever had a burek? Burek is amazing as well. It's like a pastry with stuffed with meat, and yeah, that's why I'll be watching. I had one time, and I was like, Serbians can cook it up, man. So yeah, that's why I'll be watching. And some reasons why y'all should be watching. I think that even though they aren't expected to go far in the tournament, they should be entertaining to watch because I've heard it called heavy metal football. What that means is that it's all action, and they're pretty weak defensively, but they score a ton of goals. So either way, if you're watching this team, there's going to be a lot of goals scored, and really, as a mutual party watching this team, that's what you want to see. You want to see some action. You want to see some entertainment. And this team has it in spades. So that's why you should be watching them. Vic, tell us why you're watching them.
Well, I'll be watching them because I know they are known for ruling. Because 17 Roman emperors were born from what is now Serbia, and also they rule on the basketball court nowadays with Nikola Jokic, the Joker. Everybody knows who he is. Gonna be honest, I'm just gonna translate that to the soccer pitch as well. There's not much interesting about Serbia. When I was doing a bunch of researching, the country's landlocked. There's not even a beach. It's like Oklahoma. Um, so I'm just going to say they're spending their time practicing on the pitch, and they're going to focus and put all that information or all that into the Euros this year. They're the largest exporter of raspberries too, if that's a thing you like. But I don't know. Well, I have a feeling they're going to be pretty good because they have nothing else going on there.
Concentrating on their football skills.
I think so.
Okay. Well, let's move it to Slovenia. Slovenia got to the Euro 2024, finishing second with 22 points and a record of 7 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw, level on points with Denmark in their group, but lost due to a head-to-head record. And the last time they were here was way back in 2000, and they failed to get out of the group stage. So making it to the competition in 2000 sets the bar, and if they do anything past that this time around, well, then that's the best they've ever done. And let's take a look at the form, Victor.
Yeah, so their form for 2023 was all UEFA qualifying, Euros qualifying this year. So they did start off last summer with a 2-0 loss against Finland, but did have a draw with Denmark right afterwards. Going into the fall, they rattled off 5 straight wins against Northern Ireland, San Marino, Finland, and again Northern Ireland. So, sorry,
Did you
it's
say
4
Dan
straight wins.
Marino?
Yeah, they did beat Dan Marino 4-0,
Okay.
actually. Whooped his ass.
Hey, he's a legend. He's a legend.
Yeah. In November of last year, they did have a 2-1 loss against Denmark, but did bounce back with a 2-1 win against Kazakhstan. This year, they are undefeated. They had a bonus match in January where they beat the United States of America 1-0. And then going into March, they had a 2-2 draw with Malta, rattled off 2 wins against Portugal and Armenia, and then just yesterday against Bulgaria had a 1-1 draw. So looking really good this year. Hopefully they keep that form and have a bunch of momentum going into these Euros.
Okay, and now let's take a look at some of the key players for this Slovenian squad. The main one that people will know is Jan Oblak, the goalkeeper for Atletico Madrid. He's regarded as one of the best in this generation, the best in the world right now, and he's playing at a high level for a very successful club, and he's been doing that for years. So I want to say that this is his first Euros, so maybe his first major tournament. So it'll be really cool, and happy to see that because obviously Atletico have had a lot of success at club level, but for this man to have some success, and even if he's just here and happy, that's fine too. Good job, Jan Oblak. Then we're going on to Benjamin Sesko. Sesko, you're going to hear a lot about him. We'll talk about him more in a second on the young player watch, but yeah, just know that he's really good for now. And then we also have Jan Vipotnik, who scored 10 goals for Bordeaux last season in League. I have to practice that. But back to Benjamin Sesko. This guy's a 20-year-old striker for RB Leipzig, scored 18 goals and 2 assists across all competitions for Leipzig last year. And per Backpage Football, they have a breakdown of him, and they say that Ben was central in helping the Slovenia squad qualify for their first Euros since 2000. The RB Leipzig forward scored 5 goals and set up 2 and set up to in just 9 appearances during qualifying. With 11 international goals, Sesko has burst onto the international scene as Slovenia's standout generational talent. And really couldn't say anything more about the guy other than it's going to be really exciting to see how he does. It's unfortunate that it's in a group with England and Denmark. I think if it was a bit weaker, that they might have had a better chance. At least, what we'll find out in the odds will say something about that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him on the pitch out there. At least they have bookends, right? Great goalkeeper, great striker. So they have that. Vic, what did the odds telling us about this team going into Euro 2024?
Not great, Bob. It's actually they are suggested to. They have the worst odds of their group at a plus 1,000. So again, not good, and the fourth worst overall to win the Euros at a plus 25,000. So a little dark horse team. Maybe they're trying to steal some points off some other ones. Again, doesn't help that Denmark and England are in their group, but we'll see how they do coming up.
Yeah, and word on the street is that even though they are in decent form at the moment, it's a tough group to get two great teams in a group that are more than likely going to win. I think most are assuming that they're going to get a loss against England and then maybe draw with Denmark, but probably a loss there too. So really it comes down for the Slovenian fans to that Serbia game if they're going to have any fun at this tournament, because that's their best shot at 3 points. And they're not expected to get out of the group, obviously. But again, Serbia, Slovenia might be a match to watch. Why I'm going to be watching them, it's going to be the same reason that y'all should be watching him, for Benjamin Sesko. I think I've said his name enough already, but just get ready because you're going to hear about it a lot more. And especially if he has a great tournament, we want to all be there and be like, yeah, we remember whenever Sesko broke out at Euro 2024. Now he's world famous. He's making all this money and he's all over the tabloids. This could be that tournament. And, I didn't get to watch a lot of Leipzig games. I watched a lot of highlights of him. So I'm really excited to see how he does in this tournament because essentially Euros, they're all highlighted games, right? Everybody has their own time slot. So we get to pay attention and see this guy for 3 games in a big tournament. And I'm interested and I'm excited to see how he does. With that said, Victor, tell us a little bit about Slovenia and why you're watching this team.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I'll be watching number one because of unity. And the last day of April, the whole country does bonfires. It's like a one big bonfire party. It used to have something to do with labor laws and stuff, but now it just became a cultural thing to do at the end of every April. So that just happened. That was awesome.
Cool.
So I think that's cool. Also, Slovenians work in any terrain. They have the third most forested country in Europe, and they have more than 12,000 underground caves. And even you can see part of the Alps from there. So any terrain, let's say turf, natural grass, anything, they're going to get it done. And also they're going to be nice and relaxed going into these Euros because they are wine lovers. There's one vineyard for every 70 people in Slovenia, and that theoretically means any vineyard you go to won't be crazy packed with a bunch of drunk bachelorette parties. So I think that's awesome, and that's why I'll be watching them.
So if you're looking for some bachelorettes, then don't go to Slovenia.
Yeah,
well, honestly, this is why the people are coming for all of this information. Great stuff, Vic. Slovenia sounds awesome. But now we've completed Group C. We've run through England, Denmark, Serbia, Slovenia. So it's time to talk about this group as a whole and how we see it going down and a few matches that can decide the fate of the group. So I think it's pretty straightforward. Probably not a surprise to anybody. I have it England, Denmark, Serbia, then Slovenia. And the only teams that can change is Slovenia and Serbia. That matchup between them will decide who's third and fourth. But even if they're third, they're more than likely not going to be one of the top 3 teams to get out. So, it's fun for the country and it'll be fun to root for them and cheer them on. But I don't see them getting out of the group at all into the round of 16. Vic, how do you have the group?
I have it the same way, actually. I have England obviously winning. I do have them as my favorite, probably, to win the whole thing. Then Denmark behind them. They have too much firepower there, followed by Serbia and Slovenia as well. So hopefully what I'm thinking is that maybe Serbia and Slovenia can steal a point or two from maybe a Denmark clash that they have, but we'll definitely see going into these Euros.
Yeah, and I think that the key match that will be a deciding factor in the fate of this group is going to be that Denmark-Serbia match, because I think that England's pretty. We are pretty much assuming they're going to get 3 points from every team here. And so, with that said, it's going to come down to that second spot. And I think Serbia is the only one that really has a chance to challenge Denmark. So on match day 3, June 25th, Denmark Serbia. That might be our chance to see who's actually coming out. Well, it's definitely going to be our chance to see who's coming out because it's the final match day. But you get my point. If Serbia have a great showing against England and Slovenia, then that match against Denmark is really going to tell us who's getting out of that group and who's going to be continuing in Euro 2024. And with that said, that's about it for Group C. We did the wraparound, and we've told you what we think is going to happen. Vic, take us home.
Yeah, just want to remind you guys to like, comment, subscribe to all of our socials will be underneath here. Let us know what you guys think about this group. It's a pretty tough group on top and bottom. Do you think we're off? Do you think there's going to be a Slovenia upset at some point? Let us know, and we'd love to talk to you guys in the comments. We appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.